Alrighty, we're going to talk about wiring outlets here in the country I was born in and some different types of connections there are. There's different ways of connecting them for different types of outlets. First, we have a residential one here. It has the backstab. It has the screw terminals. It has a little link between the two brass terminals and the two silver terminals. And we have an commercial grade. This one you put the wires in the under the pressure plate in the back there. It has what's called a self-grounding uh, clip. So when you put the screw in, it bonds it to the box better than a regular residential one. Here in the country I was born in, we use a 14 American wire gauge on 15 amps, 12 American wire gauge on 20 amps. Black is live, white is neutral, the bare, the green is the ground. Red and blue are also live colors. However, you may find white live in a switch loop or a 220-240 volt circuit where the appliance does not require a neutral. So we're going to start here with a multi-wire branch circuit. We have a red, which is live, 120 volts, a black, which is live, 120 volts, a white wire, which is the shared neutral for both circuits, and the bare ground wire. When you do a multi-wire branch circuit, you have to make sure both circuits are on opposite legs of the 240. So what we're going to do is we're going to since we're using metal boxes, we have a green screw in the back of the box. So we make a loop in our ground wire going the same direction as our screw in the back on the box will turn. We'll close it with our needle nose pliers. And we'll tighten it up. Okay, so we have our wires here. All right, let's see what we can do now. We'll take our ground wires. We have it bonded to the box and to our outlet. We'll clip them so they're all even. Make sure they all stay even here. We'll take our wire nut. Okay, we have our grounds together. Now only on the live side, since we're sharing the neutral here with the whites, only on the live side, see the little tab there? We'll take our pliers, we will grab it like this, rock it back and forth until it completely breaks off. You can see it there in the pliers. So these two halves are separated now, and our common neutral is still together. So now we can strip our wires. And hook our device up. So we'll strip our black, we'll strip our white, and we'll strip our red. And we will close the screws we're not going to use. This is the white side. And I leave this link in here because it's sharing the neutral. So we'll take our white wire, we'll make our loop the direction the screw turns, put it under our screw, close it the direction our screw turns. Make sure our copper goes under the screw head all the way around, like that. Now we'll come down here, we'll get our ground wire. make our loop the direction our screw turns. You always put your wire around the screw the direction our screw turns, like that. Make sure our copper is under the screw head all the way around. See how we have a little extra copper here? That's just a little long, so we'll open it up. Open up our loop here some. We'll take our cutters and we'll just cut a little bit off of that there. Put it back around our screw head. Close it the direction our screw turns, like that. There we go, that's what we want. Now we'll come over here to our live side. Now it doesn't matter which one you put on the top or the bottom, but you do the same on all the outlets if there's multiple outlets on the circuit. We'll put our black on the top. Close our loop the direction our screw turns. And we'll put our red, which is on the other side of the phase coming into the house. It's called a split phase coming into your house. You have 240 coming in. Okay, so there it is all hooked up. That's how it will go. So now I'll explain to you what happens now. You'll take your multimeter. You'll put it on, we will use, I'll put it on here so you can, okay, there it is. We have it on 600 volts. And we'll go between both circuits, the red and the black, we have 240. Okay, now we can drop this down to the 200, and we'll go between the top outlet, we have 120, and we go on our bottom outlet, we have 120 volts. So that is how your multi-wire branch circuit is wired. And also would be the same for this if it's on the same phase when you have the power going to a switch and you're putting the switch for the red wire so that all the outlets, halves of the outlets are on the red, which is switched, and the black wire stays live at all times. In that box where the switch is hooked up, the black and white coming in, the two white wires will go together, and the black wire will go to the black wire, and then a black tail will go to the switch, and on the other side of the switch will go to the red wire, so that the bottom half of all the outlets would be switched and the top half would be on all the time. So there's two different cases where your outlets would be wired this way. Okay, now we're going to talk about the 14-2 residential circuit here. We have our ground wire that's bonded to the back of our box with a green screw. We have our ground, we have our black and our white, and we have our bare ground wire here. So first we will take our ground wires, we'll tail them together. So on a metal box, you have to bond to the box and to the device. So we get our wires even here. Put our wire nut on. Make it nice and tight. And now we'll hook. There's two ways you can hook up your 15 amp residential outlet. We'll close the screw we're not going to be using. We're not going to use the screws here, so we're going to close all the screws. And we're going to be doing a backstab, and you'll see a strip gauge here on the back of the receptacle. So we'll use our 14 gauge hole. We'll strip it with the size that matches the wire we're using so you don't damage the wire inside. We'll hold it up to our strip gauge here. Perfect strip there. Perfect strip there. So what you'll do, the black will go on your brass side, which is live, and you'll put it in the hole in the back. Seat it down like that. Take your white, put it in on the silver side, push it down. Make sure you get the insulation butted all the way up to the plastic here, like that. And the bare ground wire will go around the green screw here. You always put the wire around the screw, the direction the screw turns. And that is how to do the backstab wiring, but I don't really like the backstabbing. I like to put them on the screws. Okay, now I'll show you the ideal way of wiring the outlet. We'll take and put our black wire on the brass colored screw, which is the live. And if you look at the front of the outlet here, the brass screw is the narrow slot. The silver screw is the white wire, which is neutral, and it's the wider slot. Now this live side can be either red or black, or it could be blue on a 208 building that's wired with 208. And that's in commercial wiring. So we'll strip our wires a little longer here so we get a nice connection here. Okay, so we'll put you always put your wire around the screw, the direction the screw turns. When you tighten the screw, it closes the loop rather than opens the loop. So you put it around the screw, the direction the screw turns, like that. And I'm holding pulling the wire back with my fingers here so that the wire stays under the screw head all the way around. And we'll turn it around. We'll make our loop, we'll make it the direction our screw turns. Go under our screw terminal like this. We'll close our loop like that there. And this is the ideal way of hooking up a residential outlet. So what I do when I fold my wires into the box, I go up, down, up like an accordion with my black and whites. And I'll fold my ground wires and keep them down at the bottom of the box. And I'll fold them so that they go into the box, staying at the bottom, keeping it down at the bottom. This box is too shallow to push all this in, but I'm showing you how to do it in a real situation so that the ground wires will stay zigzag down in the bottom. So I'd have this ground tail going up and down like this, and then the ground wire down here staying down at the bottom. So see how it will stay down at the bottom, zigzagging it like that. So that is the ideal way of wiring a residential outlet here in the country I was born in. Okay, now we're going to wire a commercial grade outlet. This is the twist and lock. This was a 15 amp, and the 20 amp ones would wire the same way. The only thing different with the 20 amp one is you'd have a T slot on the neutral side, but the connecting the wires is the same. So we will take our ground wires. We'll get them even on the end here like this. Get them even like that. Take our wire nut, we'll put it on. Like that. And we will close the screws we're not going to be using so that that screw doesn't wobble around and touch something we don't want it to touch. And you can see how the screws move around, so if you leave it loose, it could touch something you don't want it to touch. And again, there's a strip gauge on the bottom here. This is number 12, and it'll be on a 20 amp circuit, so we'll strip it here. Go up to our strip gauge here and see how we did with our strip gauge. Okay, we have it just about the right length there. Do the same with our white wire. Always strip with the size that matches your wire so you don't damage the wire underneath. That's just perfect. And I'm going to cut off about a 1/16 of an inch on this one because I stripped it slightly long. So we will put our black wire under the brass terminal here so we make sure our screw is in. And you can put 2 wires in one slot here if you're going off to another outlet. And we'll just tighten it up, making sure we don't get our insulation caught under the pressure plate. So it goes in like that. We'll bring it around this way. We'll make sure our screw is in. Put our white wire down in. Make sure okay, that is a slight bit long, so we're going to cut just like maybe a little tiny smidgen, like a 1/16 of an inch off. Put it in push our screw in, make sure our insulation doesn't get caught under the pressure plate. And we'll tighten our screw up. And the ground wire we will put around our green screw here. Again, this will be a little bit too much to put in the box here. In a real situation, I'd have the wires a little bit shorter so I can fold them into the box. But for the tutorial, I have them longer so you can see it better. And you always make sure you put your wire around the screw the direction our screw turns. So that is how to wire a commercial or industrial grade receptacle. So that is how to wire wall receptacles here in the country I was born in for 15 amp branch circuits in residential, and also for commercial wiring with the commercial grade receptacles. Peace. Thanks for watching.